Good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Sue Blake. I'm with Washington State University and Washington Sea Grant. I'm going to be moderating and trying to keep us on track for most of the day. With the help of my planning committee, or not my planning committee, but with the help of the planning committee that put together this event, which you can see listed right up here. Becky Peterson, Becky, you want to stand up for just a second? She was the chair of the planning committee, herded us along throughout the whole course. And she's also going to continue in that role by being the timekeeper for this. So she is really good at that. So she's got lots of bright flags for the folks that are speaking here this morning. So I also want to take a moment to thank all of the sponsors we had for this event. Some of them provided funding, as you can see from the folks up there at the top, as well as in-kind support, which, you know, for these kinds of events, when we can charge just $20 for registration, we could not do these things without the funding support and the contributions from the planning committee, as well as all these other folks. And a special thanks to Windows on the Bay, actually, because it costs a lot of money. Many of you know that, for renting these facilities for all day long periods, and they gave this to us for free at a time of year when they have a lot of events going on. So thank you very much. And again, special thanks to the City of Bellingham. They're going to be recording this event just like we did the Ecosystem Symposium this fall. So you'll be able to access all these presentations later on and share them with the people that may not have been able to attend. We know this is really tight quarters here today, and we have had to turn people away. So we just ask for your patience as you try and work your way toward the bathroom and things like that. So with that, just a quick overview of what are we trying to cover. Today we're talking about water supply, but in the biggest sense, water supply really is all the water we need for all the natural and human systems that we have here in Whatcom County. It's characterized by this picture of just some of the features of an ecosystem. How many people attended the ecosystem conference in September? A good portion of you. We kept a fairly big picture with that. What I wanted to show here is that water is a part of all of the systems that we have, all the things that we depend on, groundwater, surface water. It shows up in 3 places in this very simplified example of an ecosystem. We're not going to cover all of those issues today. We're going to look mostly at our consumptive, or the things that most of us think about when we think about water supply, which is water supply that you use for things like, you know, your household use, your businesses, your industries, agricultural irrigation, things like that. But having said that, it's really important to remember that you can't talk about water supply issues without understanding and viewing it in the context of the larger ecosystem. And there's a number of reasons for that. I'm going to hit on just a few of them, and a lot of the speakers today are going to fill in pieces that are related to this. One is simply, you saw at the top of the ecosystem chart, the climate, the weather. What we have available here for our water supplies is totally and completely tied to the precipitation, the form we get it in, where it happens, when it happens. And we have to be able to keep track of the changes in that if we're going to really be able to address and manage our water supplies that we're going to be talking about today. And we know with climate change, we've already seen changes, we're going to see more changes related to that. Another reason why you can't do this water supply without thinking of the larger context, and I use this cartoon a lot because it really does it provides a great example. Gary Larson does a really good job of just illustrating, you know, fundamentally you can call it competition for competing uses, or you can call it sharing. But basically, we can't just use all the water we want for things like drinking water or irrigation or industry, because we have to share it with things like the fisheries and all the other components of the ecosystem. And then finally, and we have been exploring some of these, and many of you have been involved in that, some of the solutions to our water supply problems are going to be tied to our understanding of how it links with our larger systems. And just some of the examples that we've talked about and explored are, are there trade-offs? Can we do habitat improvements, water quality improvements? Can we figure out ways to get water back in our stream differently than just relying on our consumptive uses? Are those ways to solve some of our water supply problems? And I would say that The Planning Committee, we know many of us have been working on these issues for a long, long time. We know that there's lots of challenges with these things, but on the other hand, we also all fundamentally believe that the problems that we have here are solvable problems. And it's location, it's timing, it's a number of other things, but we can solve some of the water problems that we have here in Whatcom County. We truly believe that. So, quick overview of how we're going to go through the day. We're going to start with just a refresher. We're not going to assume people know all the nuts and bolts of water law. You're not going to get it all today in the hour or so that we've got for that, but you're going to get some of the basic information about water law and some of the new legislation. We're going to provide an overview of where water comes from, how we use it, take a look at some of the future conditions that we need to be thinking about when we're looking down the road at how to make sure we have enough water for all of our future needs. Take a look at what we're currently doing to try and address some of those needs, and then finally finish up with a panel of our local leaders that are going to be talking about how to move forward, what are some additional things that they think we might be considering as we're trying to make sure we have enough water for the future. With that, I want to turn, how did I do in time, Becky? Okay, great. All right, so now I'm going to turn this over to Jay Manning just a moment, because he's going to do our keynote